Good morning and welcome, and I declare the Scenic Regional Council Ordinary Meeting for Wednesday the 27th of August 2025 now open. I believe we have full attendance today, no apologies, and now turn to Councillor Moriarty for prayers. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. This morning I will pray with a well-known prayer. Once it opens, this prayer will be familiar to many people. It's known as the Serenity Prayer. I particularly like the first verse and the words of wisdom. Let's pray. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is and not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right and surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councillor. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands that we meet and pay respect to elders past and present. I believe there is no public questions today. Thank you. And no declarations of prescribed or declarable conflicts of interest from the members. We'll now turn, there's no announcements, no petitions, and then we'll now turn to the confirmation of the minutes from the ordinary meeting from the 23rd of July 2025. Could I have a motion from the floor? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I will move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 23rd of July 2025 be adopted.
Seconded to that motion, Councillor Cryer. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Any business arriving from the previous minutes? I believe not. Now turn to item 11.1. Call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I just take the report as read and move the motion that Council note that the Mayor, Councillor Tom Sharp, will participate in the Brisbane Business Mission to Dubai and attend the 2025 Asia Pacific Cities Summit and Mayor's Forum in October 2025, and that a report about the mission's outcomes will be provided to Council in a future meeting.
Thank you, Councillor. If I could, before we ask for a second, I'll just talk to the item. The 2025 Asia Pacific Cities Summit Mayor's Forum to be held in Dubai in October is joining leaders, innovators and businesses across the region to explore the future of our cities. I will be joining, or intend to join, the Brisbane Lord Mayor's Business Mission to Dubai, which is led by the Council of Mayors South East Queensland. The funding for this trip it comes from the fees that we pay as our annual subscription to the Council of Mayors South East Queensland. I'd just like to note a couple of things. There will be over 600 cities attending from around the world, and this is one of the largest and most diverse gatherings of mayors and city leaders. It is an opportunity for us in terms of putting Scenic Rim on the world stage, not only learning about the future of opportunities in terms of best practice around the world, but also highlighting the opportunities here within the Scenic Rim for investment, and particularly around coming into the 2032 Commonwealth Games. The opportunities that lie within both Bromelton in terms of the development of that industrial site, and also the recreation corridor that sits between Beaudesert and Boonah. Could I seek a seconder to the motion? Councillor McInnes. Any questions? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. Just a follow-on question. Are you intending to take any additional leave in conjunction with that visit?
No, not at this stage. There will be setting up a number of meetings outside of the summit, directly with opportunities for the region, but I intend to contain that within the diary period of the actual summit program. Thank you. Councillor Moriarty, do you wish to talk to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Just concur with the comments that you made. I think it's extremely important that Scenic Rim are represented at international forums like this as part of the Council of Mayors South East Queensland. Very important that that we are seen and to be part of and promoted in these types of forums. And there's noting that there's no additional costs above our normal annual subscription to ComSec. So no additional cost to the ratepayers. I could see no reason why you wouldn't attend.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Moriarty to introduce item 11.2.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.2, Local Government Association of Queensland Annual Conference 2025, support for motion Somerset Regional Council. I'll take the report as read and introduce the motion as presented, that Council support the proposed motion to be submitted by Somerset Regional Council to the Local Government Association of Queensland LGAQ Annual Conference 2025, being that the LGAQ calls on the Queensland Government to commit to the SEQ Community Stimulus Program, being a permanently funded program, as it has done for the Works for Queensland Funding Program.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders, thank you. Do you wish to talk to your motion, Councillor?
Thank you, Chair. I just would like to note that the South East Queensland Community Stimulus Program is a program that has run from 2021 to 2026. It's due to wrap up. There's been $200 million budgeted over that period of time to support infrastructure and stimulus programs within local governments in Queensland, and I believe the Scenic Rim Council may have benefit to the tune of around 11 million from the program. I commend Somerset for raising the motion and Somerset Regional Council for raising the motion, drawing it to everyone's attention that the program is closing, given the ongoing discussion and debates around local government sustainability. Any funding such as delivered by this program is of benefit to all local governments within South East Queensland, and I support the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to speak in support of the motion, and just to put this into context, I think it's important to realise that Scenic Rim has been the recipient of significant funding, as Councillor Moriarty mentioned, particularly the Gallery Walk Car Park Stage 1, where we received 2.1 million in funding from this program, and we also received 4.75 million for the Beaudesert Indoor Multi-Sport Centre at Dick Westerman Park, and 3.99 million for completed projects, which included Beaudesert Enterprise Precinct pavement rehabilitation, Bromelton Transfer Station recycling bay construction, car park at 2 Sportsfield, air conditioning at various council facilities, and community and council facility upgrades. So the importance of this continuation of this funding really can't be said too highly.
Thank you, Councillor. Just make the point, and for viewers may not fully appreciate, the motion talks to the Works for Queensland Funding Program has been made permanent, and why this motion is so important to the likes of Somerset as well as ourselves and Lockyer Valley. And supporting this motion is the fact that the Works for Queensland funding program is $300 million for councils outside the southeast Queensland region. So particularly for smaller councils such as ours, we do not get to participate in that funding pool, and it is vital that we make this permanent as a lifeline for smaller councils, and unfortunately we sit in that locked into that SEQ pool. Is there anyone wanting to talk against the motion? Councillor Moriarty, did you want to state anything further?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to the members. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor McGuinness to introduce item 11.3.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce. I'd like to introduce 11.3 media policy review. This is this did come back was adopted in February 25 earlier this year. So it's but this further feedback was provided by councillors and stakeholders, and it's been tweaks in a couple of areas. So I'd take it that it's been read by councillors. I'd just for a start off like to move the recommendation and move that Council adopt the amended Scenic Rim Regional Council media policy.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Chalk, thank you. Councillor McInnes?
Yes, Mayor, just a bit more. There was a couple of things where the main one, the only officer permitted to make comments to the media has been the Chief Executive Officer. The amendment to this policy is proposed to clause 6 of the policy to extend that authority to directors within the organisation. The amended policy is attached to the report for consideration. So, and I take it everyone has read that. It is fairly straightforward. It's a necessary. We work, I believe, fairly closely with the media here. We don't always agree, but I think it's we have to have guidelines, and this is what this policy is all about. And I commend the resolution to the councillors. I think it's fairly straightforward.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sanders?
I was just going to second it.
We've already...
I'm behind. Yep.
It's already been seconded.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor McGuinness. Yes, to the point, noting that change in point 6, it's only directed at operational issues in relation to council or as delegated by council. And noting in particularly that, as a rule, the Chief Executive and Directors will not generally comment on policy issues, which comes back down to the councillors, but do concur with your comments. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Anything further, Councillor McInnes?
No, Mayor.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Councillor Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just we haven't included officers to be able to, as an extra with authority to speak. But was there or could there be consideration be given to the provision of a position and not a name when quoting an officer? Probably through the chair.
Are you talking, the CEO and the directors have their titles and their names? What are you referring to, Councillor?
There was some talk about like just below a position of a director for an officer, and is it possible that, or even for just for an officer in general, whether a provision of a position or their title and not their name could be just going forward put into the media policy.
For, this is for directors and CEO only. Are you proposing an amendment to that policy?
Well, in future, possibly. Going forward, is it possible that like a position could be provided to media rather than a name? Because they would like to know the names of people.
The CEO and the directors' names.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have new directors coming on board,
Yes.
and there will be an announcement at the next month's meeting
Yes.
with regards to that. Their names will be attached to their title. Are you proposing anything further?
Well, maybe I was asking if there was any consideration, or could there be consideration going forward? I guess it's a question for going forward and not at this point in time, probably. Now,
This is to be taken forward as of today if we pass the
Yes.
motion.
Yes. Yes.
Are you happy with the motion?
Yes, I'm happy with the motion. Yes.
Okay. Anything further?
No.
Councillor?
I'll just very quickly, Mayor, if we can just scroll down to 4.3, I've just picked up a grammatical spelling error which we might as well correct before we pass the motion. So is that possible to do or not? Or do you want to address that after the...
Sorry, what page is it, Councillor?
19, it's just a typo in the first sentence in 4.3. Any media comment conflicting with this policy? Not too important, but just might as well get it right.
It could just be a delegation to the CEO to correct any typos before it's
Okay,
on the website. If you,
that's fine, I just picked it up, so.
yeah. Mr. CEO, do you feel the need for addition to the motion? No. I wouldn't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor McGuinness, did you want to talk to your motion?
No, Mayor, I don't think there's need for anything else.
I put it to the floor then. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now turn to item 11.4 and call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 11.4, Operational Plan 2024 to 2025, Quarter 4 Progress Report, and I take the report as read. So I'll move straight to the motion and then speak to the motion after that. The motion is that 1, Council approved the draft Quarter 4 2024 to 2025 Operational Plan Progress Report, and 2, Council approved the draft Quarter 4 2024 to 2025 Service Delivery Report. Thank you.
Thank you. A seconder to the motion. Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make the comment that the highlights of this agenda item start at page 30 on the agenda, and they involve items such as the swimming pool tender documents that have been issued, and I believe the tenders have now closed, the COEX basket installation project, which we'll talk about further in this meeting, and the progress in the bin health check project. Also of mention is that the pig and calf community engagement has resulted in council progressing to a new design, and that only 3 matters have the status of requires attention in Quarter 4, which is a good achievement. These include the completion of the review of the waste facilities and services, progress in the Reconciliation Action Plan, which is now to occur in 2025-2026 operational plan, and review of implementation of the Customer Experience Strategy 2021 to 2023 and the development of a new plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone wishing to, any questions regarding these reports? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried. Moving to item 11.5, a call upon Councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Today I'll introduce report 11.5, which is Scenic Rim Economic Development Strategy 2026 to 2030. I'll progress straight to moving the motion, which is a bit of a long one, and then I'll have a few words on that. So the motion is that 1, Council adopt the Scenic Rim Economic Development Strategy 2026 to 2030 and approve publishing it on Council's website and the Invest Scenic Rim website. 2, Council note that a limited number of hard copies will be printed and distributed to key stakeholders. 3, Council acknowledge and thank SC Lennon and Associates, all the businesses, key stakeholders, chambers of commerce, Destination Scenic Rim and relevant government agencies for their contributions which have resulted in development of this strategic economic development plan. 4, Council delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to make minor grammatical and formatting changes to the Scenic Rim Economic Development Strategy 2026 to 2030, if required, after its adoption and prior to publishing on Council's website for public access, noting any changes will be advised to councillors prior to publishing. And 5, Council note that a final report will be presented at a future ordinary meeting to provide a summary of the key initiatives undertaken and outcomes achieved through the implementation of the Scenic Rim Regional Prosperity Strategy 2020 to 2025, following its conclusion in December 2025.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion? Councillor Cryer. Councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This strategy sets out a clear direction to ensure appropriate growth of the Scenic Rim and allow the region to capitalise on potential opportunities. It will encourage investment and the development of high-performing industries, providing a pathway to sustainable growth for the region's businesses, support local employment and lifestyle opportunities for the Scenic Rim residents, provide attractive experiences for visitors in the region. I think it's an important area that we play in council, and the staff do a fantastic job of engaging businesses and trying to encourage development. And as spoken about before, the Mayor's role also is much larger than that, going out to other organisations and promoting our region and attracting businesses to areas like Bromelton that we're really working hard to develop in an appropriate way that the region wants. So I recommend the motion and support it wholeheartedly. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any questions?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question. A couple of months ago, we had a visit from the Small Business Commissioner for Queensland, Dominic Lamb, came into the chamber and shared some statistics and feedback from the red tape investigation, red tape reduction commission that was done by is ongoing, I believe, by the state government. And she had some fairly, I won't say scathing, but feedback that the Scenic Rim had not fared too well in the feedback with regard to red tape and doing business. So my question is through the chair to the officers is aligned with this, and I will concur with what Councillor Chalk said. It's a wonderful document and it's a lot of work's gone into it and it reads very well, but has there been any work or is there intended to be any work done in the area of red tape reduction to help support this policy?
Thank you, Councillor. Through the chair, it's certainly incorporated into our new economic development strategy. As late as last week, council officers met with the Small Business Commissioner to continue working with her on red tape reduction initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you able to share any insight into that meeting or any processes that might be coming out of it?
Thank you. It's a work in progress. We certainly did discuss our new economic development strategy, and it's about sharing information and experiences from not just within the Scenic Rim, but also across the greater council regions in Queensland, and sharing each experience, sharing experiences across our different council areas as well, so that we can learn from each other.
Thank you. I'll just, I'll just close with, and I appreciate the feedback, Julie. I'll just close with, I guess, what we would like to see, or what I personally, not speaking on behalf of other councils, would like to see that moving forward in the future, that the Scenic Rim is not seen as a place with too much red tape, or a place where it's difficult to do business, and that we are working productively with organisations or people like the Small Business Commissioner, but also with all the stakeholders to try and implement a process that makes the Scenic Rim a more attractive place to do business. Thank you.
If I can also just add to that as well, it is, as a part of our economic development team, it is our business as usual to run programs, education programs, and also run our concierge program, which helps businesses through either the planning or compliance process. Thank you.
Thank you. I think just if I can add to that, to the officer's comments, and I think everyone in this room is fully cognizant of what's happening in this country. It's not just isolated to the Scenic Rim or southeast Queensland. It's state and nationwide in terms of the amount of regulation that has been adopted over the last decade, particularly since COVID. The difficulties and challenges that has created in terms of productivity, and the challenges for new business and investment. Some of the initiatives were taken was in last year's budget to appoint a continuous improvement officer, so we internally as a council can focus on eliminating waste and delivering efficiencies right across the board. And while that always takes time, hopefully that will yield for the people of this region in the near term. Also note Councillor Chalk's comments earlier, the importance of advocacy and what we do in this region, particularly as all councillors, and including myself as mayor, as leaders of this community, to put out, and I guess there is extra responsibility for me, to put our best foot forward to attract investment into this region. We have to do that in partnership, though, with the state and the federal governments in terms of assisting in delivering the infrastructure that is needed, so that can investment then be triggered. But additionally in that, and we've seen with the new state LNP government installed last October last year, the Red Tape Initiative, and there is a lot of onus on the state government that can enable us and assist us in removing a lot of that red tape. But I agree with Councillor Moriarty's comments that we need to be focused as a council and as leaders in this community to eliminate that waste and make it much easier for business to operate or start their operations within our region. But thank you, and thank you for your efforts. Anyone wish? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make the observation that it was good to see in the report that it mentions that this report is aiming to provide the foundations for growth by working to strike a balance between lifestyle and economic opportunity, as they can't exist in isolation. So it's good to see acknowledgement of that. And at page 67, there's mention that some parts of the Scenic Rim, such as Tamborine Mountain, are suffering from over-tourism in peak periods, and that we'd be working towards a more equitable distribution of tourism benefits throughout the region. And on behalf of Division 1, I'd like to stress that we'd really like to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hay. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Chalk? Anything for-
No, I won't add into that, thanks.
Thank you very much. With that said, I'll put it to the members. Those in favour of the motion? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Move to item 11.6 and call upon Councillor Chalk again.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll introduce report 11.6, which is the 2025 Scenic Rim Business Excellence Awards update. I'll take this report as read also, and I'll move the following motion that council endorse the 2025 Scenic Rim Business Excellence Awards being launched in September 2025, with nominations closing in November 2025. 2, council endorse the awards gala dinner for the 2025 Scenic Rim Business Excellence Awards to be held in March 2026. And 3, council support the new format and proposed categories of the 2025 Scenic Rim Business Excellence Awards.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Hay. Councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. These awards are aimed to promote and unite businesses within the Scenic Rim by recognising excellence in innovation, productivity and customer service. I've attended these events previous in the last term, and they're very well received from the businesses, and we're just hoping that we get a lot of nominations from businesses, and then we can showcase their businesses in the region in a positive light. So I endorse this motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Chalk in closing.
Nothing to add, Mr Mayor.
I'll put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor McInnes to introduce item 11.7.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to introduce 11.7, infrastructure charges resolution update. This is not that many changes to it, but changes to the infrastructure. It seeks our consideration of a new version of the charges resolution. The update is a procedural matter and is required in order to give effect of the amended prescribed amounts for infrastructure charges. I take it it's been read by councillors, and I'll move to the recommendation that council adopt the charges resolution version number 16, attachment 1, to take effect on the commencement date of today, 27th of August 2025. I so moved, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Cryer. Councillor McInnes.
No, there's Mayor, if I can just touch on a couple of things. There's no great changes, just so we're not accused of hiding anything. I think the one that the public might have been interested in, I'm fully supportive of it, is a 50% discount on adopted charges is now available for secondary dwellings containing 2 bedrooms or less. We're all well aware of the housing crisis around the place, and hopefully people looking for permanent residency will be able to make use of that change. But I don't think there's anything too much in there anywhere, Mayor, that's alarming as far as I'm concerned. We've been through it, and I recommend the resolution to the councillors.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make a comment on Councillor McGuinness's last point. The third major change was the new discount for secondary dwellings, and in light of a Facebook comment yesterday that council is responsible for the homeless crisis, I'd like to say that if we go to page 80.3, the new discount for secondary dwellings, it's proposed that the adopted charges 50% discount apply to secondary dwellings containing 2 bedrooms or less. And that's fine. I would have liked to have seen a condition there that the secondary dwelling was required to be used as a dwelling for residential purposes, because at this point, that is then open to any secondary dwelling that's approved and then becomes short-term accommodation, which is not assisting with the homeless crisis, nor is it providing additional residential properties if there is no condition requiring that secondary dwelling to be a dwelling as such. It does go on to say that these types of secondary dwellings are typically used by extended family or dependents. However, that's not always the case. Thank you.
Noted, councillor. Anyone wanting, did you
I
want?
was going to answer
You
the
would like to
question.
respond, councillor McInnes?
First of all, maybe the council shouldn't look at Facebook so much and hang on every word that's said there. Back to the agenda, councillor.
The Facebook comment was directed towards me, so I'm apparently solely responsible for nearly everything that goes wrong in Scenic Rim, so I just took the opportunity to raise that one.
Okay, thank you, councillors. Any questions to the report? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor McInnes?
Nothing more to add, Mayor.
I put it to the members. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Now call upon councillor Cryer to introduce item 11.8.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to introduce item 11.8 MCU 25/058, extension to currency period for development permit MCBD 14/061 for material change of use for shopping centre at 1 to 33 Tamborine Mountain Road, Tamborine, described as Lot 1 SP 268147. Would you like me to go on? Yeah, okay.
You want to go to the motion?
Okay, I'd like to say, Council is in receipt of a request to extend the currency period for development approval for material change of use for the shopping centre at...
Excuse me.
Yep.
Councillor Cryer.
Yes.
Just to your motion, which I think is up on the...
Oh, okay. I would like to, before I move to the motion, I'd like to present my thoughts on... Would you like me just to do the motion first?
And then I'll have you talk to the motion.
Okay, sure.
Is that okay?
That's okay. Okay, I would like to present the motion and move that Council defer this matter to a future ordinary meeting to allow the applicant to make further representations to Council officers about the extension of the currency period under consideration.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion, councillor Sanders. Councillor Cryer, would you like to talk to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I do take the report as read and note that officers, after discussion with Council, recommended an extension of 3 years. But I would like to present my thoughts, which are highly representative of the people of Tamborine. On this site in Tamborine, a shopping area was first proposed over 25 years ago, with the concept plan lodged with the Beaudesert Shire Council back in 1999. I know this because I have a copy of this very document created by licensed surveyors and development consultants Gassman and Associates for clients GRB Investments. Moving on to 2006, plans for an actual shopping centre in Tamborine were touted. The people of Tamborine were very excited and elated. They were finally going to have, albeit small, their own very own neighbourhood supermarket-based centre for shopping in their village. This concept was then extended until the period between 2011 and 2013, a time when a town hall meeting was held, further invigorating the people of Tamborine, filling them with promises of a shopping centre. The time period stretched out until past 2013, then 2014. Finally, the development permit for a material change of use for a shopping centre was brought into the ordinary meeting for February 2015. The plans of which are still being used today. In 2020, 2021 and 2022, a further three extension notices were issued, achieving automatic additional 2 years to the currency period, bringing us up to where we are today. In 2025, some 26 years from when the shopping area in Tamborine was first talked about. With each new time frame, each new council, dreams for a shopping centre in Tamborine evaporate each time the extensions achieve approval. Here we are today, and a whole generation of people have grown from child to adult, never having experienced a shopping centre in their own town. Out of interest, I googled towns without shopping centres in Australia, and lo and behold, it came up that towns like the small communities of Tamborine or other similar areas in remote regions would likely fall into this category. Tamborine is extremely unique as a town without a shopping centre. The people of Tamborine desperately want and need a shopping centre. The question is, when are they going to receive it? 19 years has been an extremely long time to wait. Continual extensions for renewal are, in my opinion, and speaking for the people of Tamborine, not beneficial and are in fact continuously detrimental. But going forward, and despite attempting to sell the land in 2015 and 2016, as they themselves have also undergone a generational change, the applicant seems to be fairly keen to finally deliver on their promise of a shopping centre for Tamborine. They have in this respect requested additional time in which to provide a traffic survey study, so would like to progress to the next ordinary or a future ordinary meeting, and in this time I would also like to see a feasibility study which includes a decent outline of a timeline for fruition of this important development. As such, I would therefore like to seek to defer the matter for 1 month to the next ordinary meeting to allow for these further discussions to occur. And as such, I've presented an alternative motion to refer the matter to a future meeting to allow the applicant to make further representations to council officers associated with their request to extend currency period. I'm seeking the support of fellow councillors to allow this to occur for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Is there any questions from the floor? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make a comment that the developer has put forward that there were 3 major issues that caused the obstruction of the realisation of the project during the life which is 20 years. The first 2 were the lack of committed interest from a suitable anchor tenant due to insufficient catchment size. That hasn't changed. The escalation in construction costs post-COVID-19, that hasn't changed. But the third one, the internal resources that the company has tied up in completing other large-scale projects, the developer has advised that those other large-scale projects have now been completed, which is leaving them more time now to focus on progressing this development. So I support Councillor Crowe's motion. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any other questions? Anyone wanting to talk against the motion? I put it to the floor. Those.
Can I say?
Sorry, Councillor Crowe. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, just in follow-up to the catchment size area and the need for a shopping centre, I believe there was a feasibility study done back over 20 years ago, in the very start, that identified there was a need for a shopping centre in Tamborine. So that's when it says that the catchment area is not of a correct sizing. It was actually decided it was a shopping centre was needed for the Tamborine area way back then. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. I'll put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Move to item 11.9 and call upon councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, today I'll present report 11.9, which is the proposed issue of a lease to community organisation, Lions Club of Burner Incorporated. The motion that I'll move is that one, council resolve that the exception under section 236(1)(b)(2) of the Local Government Regulation 2012 applies to the proposed grant of a lease to Lions Club of Burner Incorporated for premises situated at lease area A, Lot 2 on RP 153509, situated at Coronation Park, Coronation Drive, Burner. 2, council endorse a 5-year lease on standard terms as issued by council for Lions Club of Burner Incorporated, expiring 30th of June 2030. And 3, council delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with section 257(1) of the Local Government Act 2009 to finalise and execute a lease agreement to Lions Club of Burner Incorporated.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion, councillor Cryer. Councillor Chalk.
I'll just say, I guess the Lions Club of Burner do some fantastic work in the region. They're a long-standing organisation with some fantastic members. So certainly support the issue of this lease and support their organisation to continue the work they do in the Burner area. So I'll probably leave it at that, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor. Are there any questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor McGuinness.
Not speaking as a Lion member of Harrisville, I've been not speaking against it. Just following on from what Councillor Chalk said, yeah, they aren't a very big club, but they're a fairly active club, and they just donated, I think it was $26,000 to the flood work between Thargomindah and Quilby, I think it was, Warwindora. Yeah, for such a small club to raise that, and they've got a couple of younger members there that have stirred some of the older people up, let's say, and got them into action, and they're doing a great job, and they've over 50 years they've been operating, and yeah, there's a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort into there over that time.
Yeah, you're 100% right, councillor, and I think this is the great role that this council can play in supporting all our service organisations right across the region in terms of the community they do. As Councillor McGuinness pointed out, not just within the community, but outside, in this instance, right across the state. Thank you for those comments. Councillor Chalk, anything further?
I'll just probably just add, and following on from Councillor McGuinness's words are very relevant. The Lions clubs right across the region do fantastic work, and they're probably in dire need of some refresh in membership, especially the Harrisville Lions. So I'd encourage all the community members out there. They are a massive support in our region, and they're really important to that community spirit that we have in this region and the fabric of the region. So it's certainly up to younger people to step up and participate, because as Councillor McGuinness said, you know, to be able to provide $26,000 for such a small group of people to a cause across Queensland, it just shows how active and how much good things that can be achieved. So certainly the new residents that come to this region should certainly join in and do what a lot of the existing residents have done for many years, join them clubs and do good things in the community to keep them organisations going. So probably just closing them words, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. and thank you for your encouraging and colourful recruiting comments. I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Chalk again for item 1110.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 11.10 is the proposed issue of a lease to community organisation, Fassman Tennis Association Incorporated. I'll move straight to a motion for that as well. That one council resolved that the exception under section 2361B2 of the Local Government Regulations 2012 applies to the proposed grant of a lease to Fassman Tennis Association Incorporated for premises situated at Part Lot 2 on RP 153509 and Part Lot 20 on SP 185162, situated at Coronation Park, Coronation Drive, Boonah. 2, Council endorse a 5-year lease on standard terms as issued by Council for Fassman Tennis Association Incorporated, expiring 30th of June 2030. And 3, Council delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with Section 2571 of Local Government Act 2009 to finalise and execute a lease agreement to Fassman Tennis Association Incorporated.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders, thank you. Councillor Chalk.
Yeah, once again, I'm pleased to offer this lease to the Fassman Tennis Association. They've done some great work over my time in council. They had some issues and they've stepped up and really solved them and worked really collaboratively with council officers. So that they're in a good position at the moment. So looking forward to them going forward for the next 5 years in a positive manner and doing some more great things and providing that sport on Coronation Park that's highly sought after. So, yep, thank you. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions? Councillor Hay?
Just a comment, it's good to see that the Tennis Association was established in 1938. I'm not sure how many members they have, and it's also good that we're now giving a new lease to them, given that the previous one expired in 2022, so that they will have some surety going forwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Noted. Any further questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Sanders to introduce item 1111.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Item 11.11, proposed issue of lease to community organisation, Historical Society of Beaudesert Incorporated. I'll move straight to proposing the motion and then provide some feedback. The option 1, that 1, Council resolve that the exception under section 2361B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 applies to the proposed grant of lease to Historical Society of Beaudesert Incorporated for premises situated at Part Lots 2 and 3 on RP 166161, situated at Jubilee Park, 54 Brisbane Street, Beaudesert. And 2, Council endorse a 5-year lease on standard terms as issued by Council for Historical Society of Beaudesert Inc., incorporating 30th of June 2030. And 3, Council delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with Section 2571 of the Local Government Act 2009 to finalise and execute a lease agreement to Historical Society of Beaudesert Inc.
Thank you. Just in point 2, it's expiring 30 June. But that's
Sorry
okay.
if I
That's
made
fine.
an error. Sorry.
That's okay. Seconded to the motion, please. Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Sanders.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to bring this this report forward. This group was established in 1961 and plays a vital role in celebrating and preserving the local heritage for future generations. The Society showcases enriched cultural and pioneering history of the Scenic Rim region through extensive collections of photographs, artefacts, machinery and historical buildings, including the 1875 Millbank Pioneer Cottage. They also run guided tours, provide research services, which I have used before, which is great, and educational experiences for schools and community groups. And it's interesting to note the council does support the Historical Society of Boaters in other ways, but their previous lease agreement was for 10 years. So it's great that we're considering providing them another lease. There is about 70 or 80 members, and they do a great things in the community by making sure that our history is never lost.
Thank you, councillor. Any questions? Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could just make a comment, it was a pleasure to attend the, I think it must have been the 150-year celebration of Millbanks College a few weeks ago at the centre, and it's the first time I've been there for a long time, and I just really want to commend the organisation for the work that they do in preserving the history of the Bed Desert region. They have some wonderful artefacts in there and historical buildings, and if I just recommend to anyone, if you haven't been in there lately, it's well worth going in and having a look, and it's really important that we just continue to recognise and preserve the history of the region at facilities such as this for future generations.
Thank you, councillor. And I think that day, you know, it was a full house, but not only of locals, it was visitors to the region. So there's also an economic impact by all our historical societies and associations across the region in terms of the work they're doing, and reiterate Councillor Sanders' comments in that regard. Is there anyone wanting to talk against the motion? I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Turn to item 11.12 and call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.12, Containers for Change Baskets Program Extension. I'll take the report as read and introduce the motion that Council endorse installation of additional containers for change baskets to other general waste bin enclosures located in high pedestrian traffic areas, including council-owned or controlled public parks, where considered appropriate to do so.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion, Councillor Sanders. Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Chair. It's just Council have been conducting a trial of the Containers for Change program, which by all reports has been very successful. So the fact that we're going to expand to continue the program, I think, is a real positive for the region, and resulting in some cost savings to council in having to process recyclables and so on and so forth. But I would imagine also a good outcome for the environment. So I'm very happy to support the expansion of this program.
Thank you, Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to add to Councillor Moriarty's comments there. The trial has been very successful on Tamborine Mountain. There's a very high turnover of the containers that are put in the bins, and they're emptied very regularly, which does reduce the need for garbage bins to be emptied, so it does reduce the cost. We're looking at installing up to 172 additional baskets, and the baskets are provided at no cost to council, and the estimated cost to install all of those bins is approximately $5,000. No vandalism was experienced during the trial, which was good to see. And I'd just like to point out that on page 119, human rights implications are mentioned, and that's not something you would normally associate with recycling containers. However, I'll just read what is stated there. The installation of containers for change baskets provides a safe and respectful opportunity for economically disadvantaged community members to access container refund eligible items, and that's what's proving to be the motivator, I believe, in the bins being emptied so frequently by people and reducing waste. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor. Is there anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Moriarty, anything further?
No, thank you.
I put it to the members. Those Councillor Cryer. Sorry, I didn't see.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to mention also that I'm looking forward to stage 2 coming online, where the containers will be also installed at Tambourine School Park and Middle Park, where they'll be very excited to actually have a bin. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now call upon councillor Hay to introduce item 11.13.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 11.13, Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 19th of June 2025. I take the report as read and I'll move straight to the motion. The motion is that Council note the report to Council on the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 19th of June 2025.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Moriarty. Thank you. Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. The report to Council of that meeting is attached at attachment 1 to this agenda for anyone who wishes to read it. There are some interesting items in there. The Strategic Risk Register Refresh Program update. The risks will be reduced when our IT is up to date, and which in turn will create savings. The Procurement Improvement Plan update. There's a steering committee was to be established, and consultation on the draft information security policy has commenced, and there is mentioned at page 129 of the agenda the high risk customer register. Council is working to identify properties with risks and to identify safety measures that need to be undertaken when visiting properties which have been identified as possibly being risky for people to attend, both staff and councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any questions? Councillor McInnes.
Yes, Mayor, might ask the councillor or the CEO, given the what's happened in recent times, and just touching on the subject of Councillor Hay there, of our staff visiting, are you not secure? That's not the right word. I don't want to put those words into it. Are you happy with where we are in our dealings with public who might have issues with staff and looking after the health and safety of our staff?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, obviously the issues coming out of Victoria yesterday and today set an environment that's not safe for police or people from any other regulatory services. I think as much due diligence as possible needs to be undertaken before visiting certain sites. There is the opportunity to go down a process where we might map some of those areas, because we need to ensure that all our staff and councillors have access to a safe environment. There is still a lot more work to be done in this area, but one of our staff has worked at Logan before and thinks that he might be able to develop up more of a map, but there'll be issues associated with privacy as well. So, yeah, I might talk to the councillors about that post the council meeting.
Questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Hay, further to your motion?
No, thank you.
I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, call upon Councillor Sanders to introduce item 11.14.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 11.14, Council Monthly Financial Report for July 2025. I'll go straight to the motion, please. The option 1, the Council received the monthly financial report for 2025.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor McInnes. Councillor Sanders.
I just wanted to give a quick highlight or summary of the July 2026 monthly financial report. Net operating surplus or a deficit of 101.199 million, which is 3.7% higher than budgeted expectations. Operating revenue of 0.308 million, lower than budget expectations, and operating expenditure 1.506 million, lower than budgeted expectations. Operating revenue 0.308 million, which is 0.7% lower than budgeted expectations. Fees and charges are 0.121 million, or 2.7% lower than budgeted expectations, due largely to lower fees for development assessment. 0.087 million, and animal management licenses of 0.048 million. Operating expenditure 1.506 million, or 16.6% lower than budgeted expectations. Capital revenue 1.095 million, higher than budgeted expectations, and you can refer to the entire financial report and position.
Thank you, Councillor. Questions from the floor? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. If I could just ask for page 142 of the agenda to be put up on the screen, please. If we go down to other material and services, item 721031 and 032, they're headed Division 1 Council of Professional Development and Division 2 Council of Professional Development, and the headings on those columns to the right are in thousands of dollars. To me, it reads as if I was initially allocated $771,000 for professional development. I'm not sure what's happened there. And Division 2, 642,000. And even if we move across to the year-to-date figure, it's showing that I've spent 44,000 on professional development. I'd like to know where I went and what I did, because I'm not experiencing the love.
It wasn't as much as you were allocated, though, Councillor.
No, it went down a lot, didn't it? Could we just have an explanation of what those things really are? Because I'm not sure that I've had any professional development in the past 12 months.
Nor I.
Yes, through the Chair, thank you very much for picking that up. That's obviously the error in the report. I'm not too sure what exactly those lines are meant to be. I'll have to investigate that and maybe send some information around to the councillors saying what those lines really represent. Thank you.
I was thinking I might have solved the deficit single-handedly there.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions? I do have a couple, if I may, particularly in relation to the materials and services underspend. If you could just talk to that, because that's right across a number of lines, all the way through from 72, is it 600 to EXP 21-20127. And I note the single comment about timing. So if you can give us advice as was that what that was due to and how that has since been made up.
Yes, thank you for the question through the Chair. I guess the comment referring to timing, a lot of the budgets for the materials and services just get split evenly over the months for the year. So it's just divided by 12 and they might be allocated an even amount to each of the months. In July, there's often a lot of accrual reversals. So a lot of the invoices that get processed in July relate to June, and we end up taking a lot of those transactions, taking them out of July and putting them back to the previous financial year. And so quite often July is a low month in terms of actuals, and then it catches up on the following months during the year. And that is what I meant by a timing difference, the budget for July just has an even 1/12 in it, but in reality, a lot of those transactions, unfortunately, were probably posted back to last year and it's causing a timing difference now, and hopefully that'll be made up as the months progress during the year.
Sorry, so this is not, so this is around maintenance service, so this is not a weather delay or an impact within the month. You're saying this is a count-keeping record in terms of the way that it's fallen?
I'd say that'd be the large reason for the variance at this stage, yes. Yes, and the budget just being evenly split. Happy to be corrected if anybody in the area knows anything different. No.
Through the chair, there's some additional QRA work being undertaken. Sorry, through the chair, there's some additional QRA Reaper works being undertaken at the present point in time as part of the 23-24 program as works, which we kind of do in this time period as well before the wet period comes in from there.
Thank you. Just on the fees and charges and the comment around, I've just got to find it again. It's a very small number, but I'm just trying to establish, and it's very early in the new year, but is there the comment that lower processing of development assessment, is that because there are lower numbers coming through, or is it resource constrained?
Through the chair, at this stage it's probably too early to tell. We don't get even amount of development assessment revenue each month during the year. Some months are good, some months are low. This month is just a low month. We just need to get some more history behind it, I guess, to see whether it's going to be a trend that continues or whether it's just a one-off.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just make a couple of comments to both of your questions. The first one in relation to the expenditure. The phasing of the expenditure and the revenue probably needs some closer validation because certainly from an expenditure side, just dividing it by the 12 months isn't necessarily a precise activity. We need to go back and have a look at the maintenance schedules and programs because it won't necessarily represent a straight line. There'll be peaks and troughs throughout the financial year. So I've spoken with Andrew already about looking at preparing a cash flow statement that would accompany the accounts as well. So that gives you a clear understanding of what's spent and what's not spent, but it'll also provide probably a clearer interpretation of the accounts, both in revenue and expenditure. And in relation to the fees that Andrew did comment upon, that's not a linear process. There will be some assumptions about when peaks and troughs for development might happen. Certainly throughout the year that will take a little bit more, I suppose, for want of a better term, gut feel in relation to the development applications, but we can phase them where we think the activity is going to be spread. And certainly, there isn't much activity around the end of the calendar year, so we certainly wouldn't be phasing it equally across the months. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Any further questions? Can you go back to the motion, please? Did we have a second?
Yes.
Just, okay, just in light of the information that forthcame, I'm going to talk against the motion and that we should look to because there's obviously some errors in that report, have those reviewed and bring that back at a future date. I'm just flagging that to everyone, because we have got a motion on the table. So I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour of the motion? Those against the motion? And looks like the motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, I think that we'll get more information on it anyway, so I don't think we need to vote against the motion. I mean, I can't imagine why you'd want to vote against the motion, but yes, we certainly get more information back to us at another briefing session and have some of those things clarified.
Because I would have then proposed, because you've basically passed a motion, and we'll accept that it's been passed, but you passed a motion of inaccurate information. I would have then proposed an alternative motion, which is in the minutes, option 2, the council requests further information or amendment of the monthly financial report for July.
I thought you voted again, sorry. Councillor Hay, did you vote against? Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I got them mixed up. Okay, so we've got you two. Yeah.
Thank you. Motion carried. With no further items, that now draws the meeting to a close at 10:15 a.m. Thank you.